What's up, my fellow Chiebits? Today I'm here to bring you the weekly manga chapter review of Taizai. Very excited about this chapter. This chapter has really got my hype flowing through my body right now. As you all know, big fan of Taizai, and to see how this chapter was setting up some certain things that I can't wait to find out exactly what's going to happen, my hype is intensified right now. Like, it's high right now, because this chapter, damn, on paper, the chapter is very straightforward. It's a very straightforward chapter that you could possibly understand in one read through. It's not something that is very complicated. Like, this chapter's just nothing very hidden in this chapter. Like, you don't have anything where you have to read in between the lines, because sometimes Taizai has it where you have to read in between the lines to understand everything, and this chapter's not. It's kind of very straightforward and lets us know exactly what is going on, and that right there, even though it's very simplistic, I actually enjoy this chapter so much for many reasons. For one thing, I like the correlation of Meliodas' power and his sin title. As we know, Meliodas is the dragon sin of wrath. Like, he's Wrath of the Seven Deadly Sins. And to see how his wrath is what caused him to lose his power in the first place, I like that. I like that correlation, because Meliodas' sin, or his, wrath, caused it to where his power had to be sealed away. We finally got the information of why his power got stolen, like why it was locked away. It was because Meliodas could not control his anger. I always thought Meliodas had control over his power, but from what we found out in this chapter, he doesn't. Like, he lets his emotions, like, he tried to keep his emotions in check. He always tried to do that from what we found out, but his emotions sometimes got the better of him, and that's what happened in Danafor. So, it is confirmed with this chapter is that Meliodas, he blew up Danafor. Like, we always thought, it was very obvious and most likely might have been Meliodas, but this chapter confirms that Meliodas, in fact, did destroy Danafor in his rage, in his wrath, to get vengeance against the person that killed Liz. And to see that, how that's finally clarified, it's kind of sad, because he did kill so many people. You have to think about it. Meliodas, when he, probably exploded into his fit of rage and wrath, he probably killed a lot of people, civilians that were still alive, and, even enemies on top of that. And it just really goes to show you why he carries this sin on top of him now, after you seeing how this chapter was done. And since we do know that Meliodas was like a great holy knight from last week's chapter, it was kind of revealed in that little flashback, Meliodas lost his title of a great holy knight and turned into what he was. Now, he's a sin, a seven deadly sin. But getting, back on point, the chapter, though, I don't know how to feel about just getting to see the pain of Meliodas constantly throughout this chapter, because it's very sad. Like, I mean, you see Meliodas throughout this chapter, he's in a lot of pain. He has this pain and anguish in his face. You see it constantly through this chapter of how upset he is when he gets to see Liz walking around and alive. At first, when he's in, the flashback, in the past, he doesn't believe it. He thinks like he went back in time. Maybe everything was an illusion and he's back, and then he relives the nightmare once again over and over and over and over again. And that's very sad, because, I mean, if you were in that situation, let's say you had a loved one, you really loved this person, or family, or whatever, someone you really wanted to protect, and they just died like that, like, in the circumstance what happened to Liz, and you were forced to relive this nightmare to get your power back and control your rage, and you have to keep seeing this person die over and over again, you most likely are going to be very fucking upset. And it's going to be hard to control your rage, especially when you see someone like your loved one die, and it feels like you're reliving those memories all over again for the first time. It would definitely destroy normal people, and that's kind of what was going on. We come to find out, if Meliodas would have continued doing this trial over and over again, it would have destroyed his spirit to where he would give up. Like, his mind would be fucking shattered, and he would go crazy. But there was something that was also confirmed in this chapter, which I was quite shocked about. We come to find out that the bird, Meliodas' mascot, the bird, I think his name is Wandel or whatever, we've always seen him in, like, the side story chapter, and now in this chapter, we come to find out that bird was at that point in time with Meliodas and died at the exact same time as with Liz. So this is some new information. We come to find out how Meliodas' bird companion died. It died in the act with Meliodas, you know, fighting to save Liz and that type of event. And that's sad too. So Meliodas didn't just lose Liz in that tragic accident. He lost his mascot, his friend, probably his best friend, before Hawk, and died. Damn, it's just a very sad chapter. It's a really sad chapter that really gets you. And I couldn't believe how this chapter was done, especially with how you get to see, like, the dragons and shit. Which, that brings up a point I want to talk about. In the quick panel we got, like the first, you know, flashback when, you know, Meliodas was reliving his nightmare, you see what was attacking the town. Like, you see what was attacking Danafor. It was some form of dragons and hydras. What the fuck? So, you clearly see a dragon attacking. Like, I saw the dragon. It was in the panel, it was clear as day, it was a dragon. And then you see some form of head thing that looks like a hydra, because if you go to the, you know, cover page of this chapter, like, go to the cover page, and you will see Meliodas and Liz riding on something, like an animal, and you see how, like, there's a hydra right behind them. That's exactly what that creature looked like in the town next to the dragon. So there's a hydra and a dragon alongside of, you know, Fraudrin there in that town of Danafor fighting. So Fraudrin made an army of, like, mystical beasts to fight for him? Dragons and hydras? What the fuck? So, that's scary. That's scary. That's scary. It's not just demons we have to worry about when it comes to the army of the Demon Clan. It's actually hydras, dragons, and all sorts of shit. Ooh, yeah. So, chapter overall, I think that's about it. I mean, I think I covered everything. I mean, we also get to... Well, actually, there's one more thing I need to cover before I end this review. Elizabeth is going through a trial as well. And I like this a lot with how Elizabeth is going to be going through a trial to learn how to use her powers properly. Because Elizabeth, as the main female character of the series, I'm really glad to see how Nakaba-sensei is trying to develop her, let her grow as a character, for instance, to be able to hold her own to where she can help out the Seven Deadly Sins. Because from the, you know, the first part of Taizai, like, I guess we should call it part 1 since, you know, we're done with the first major arc, Elizabeth, even though she was helpful, like, she was helpful, like, at the very end, we can admit she was helpful in a lot of different circumstances throughout, you know, the first huge arc of Taizai, she still didn't have any combat capabilities to help out the Sins. And, I mean, even now she still does it, even if she was to train, but she has the ability to heal people, and probably, you know, cleanse diseases, and probably cast aside low-level demons and get them the fuck out. And Elizabeth is going down that type of path, and we come to find out she's going for a trial to where she has to heal this flower that has a disease, and she has to heal it and get it to grow and bloom, and that is her trial at the moment. So I'm liking how Nakaba-sensei is taking Elizabeth down a road to where she is training also. Not just Meliodas is getting like a power up to where he's training, but Elizabeth is also too, which I'm very excited about. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do y'all feel about this chapter? I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.